Okay, so before we start lesson 2.2, I just wanted to go over again identifying slope, plotting lines and points, and being able to determine if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So use the handout and plot these 4 points for me. Pause the video, plot them, and then check your work. 5, 2, -1, -3. This forms line L. -2, 3, 4, -2. This forms line Q. Okay, so this is what your graphs should look like. Make sure that we know X is the horizontal axis, that goes left to right. Y, our second coordinate, that's our vertical axis, that goes up and down. Okay, are the lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? They're definitely not parallel because the lines intersect each other. Now what we need to determine is if they have the relationship of being opposite reciprocals. So we're going to do a lot of graphing in lesson 2.2 and a lot of classifying. So we can answer this question of one of two ways. Looking at the graph, let me create a slope triangle. So if I look at the points that we plotted to form line L, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 5, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Line L is increasing, so it has a positive slope. So we would say the slope of line L, rise over run, is 5/6. All right, so for line Q, so if I look at Q, now Q, notice left to right is decreasing, so our slope better be negative. So in green, I'll sketch the slope triangle. One too far. So I go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I go down 5 units, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to the right 6 units. Okay, so now if the slope of line Q, rise over run, I went down 5 units and I went to the right 6 units. So when we compare these numbers, okay, they're opposite of each other. The slope of line L is positive, the slope of line Q is negative, but they're not reciprocals of each other. So remember, with reciprocal, we have to switch the top and the bottom. So they're not perpendicular, therefore they're neither. You can leave this work as your justification. Get back to this. Okay, so that's looking at the graph. Now remember how we find the slope of a line connecting 2 points, what our formula for that is. So let's verify that using our slope formula. So the slope of line L, change in your y values. So -3 minus 2 divided by -1 minus 5. That gives me -5 divided by -6, and I know that my two negatives divide to a positive. So we verify the answer that we already got. Now for Q, the slope of line Q, change in y, -2 minus 3, divided by the change in our x values, 4 minus -2, -5 over +6. So it verifies the answer that we got using the slope triangles. Okay, pause the slide. Plot these 4 points for me. Okay, so now we have lines A, B, and C, D. Determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Not parallel to each other because the lines intersect. So now let's determine the slope. So using our slope triangles, so I go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, and I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the slope of line AB, rise over run, -9 divided by y. Remember, our rise is the change in the y values. Okay, so now the slope of line CD. So from C to D, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 5 units, and to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To the left, 9 units. So my slope of D, rise over run, -5 divided by -9. The two negatives divide to a positive 5 nice. So now when I compare my slopes, they are in fact opposite reciprocals of each other. So our conclusion would be that line AB is perpendicular to line CD. Okay, one slope is negative, one slope is positive. When I flip the numerator and denominator, that's where my 5 nice comes from. So again, you could use your slope formula to determine the slopes of each line, but when we have them graphed, it's useful to look at the slope triangle. All right, last example. Pause the video, plot these 4 points. Okay, so that's what your graphs of lines E, F, and GH should look like. So for homework, justify for me. So determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. We can obviously tell that they're not parallel. Okay, then lastly, I just need you to have these in your notes. So recall slope is the change in the y values over the change in the x values. Where does that come from? I subtract my y values divided by the difference of my x values. We can also determine slope using our slope triangles. Change in y over change in x. Parallel lines have the same or equal slopes. We'll look at a lot of those examples in class. And the parallel lines have opposite and reciprocal slopes. Okay, see you in class.